Welcome, Blue Raider Nation. This time we are introducing you to one of our new coaches of the MTSU football staff. Offensive line, Christopher Browne, the new coach of our O-line, a great new addition to this team. Now, Coach, what I always like to do starting out is just kind of have you tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey. I know you have 10 years of coaching experience at different levels in the game. So where did you come from and how are you here now in the blue and white?
Wow, so it's been a long journey. It's been an amazing journey. Just matriculating through the profession. I started at a small Division II school called Lincoln University in Missouri. Was there for a few years, just kind of get my feet wet, getting in the profession. Ended up at Morehouse College for a couple years. That was when I got my first full-time offensive line role, and that was just learning about just how to take command of a room, being responsible for 12 to 15 young men. So that was an awesome experience. And then I got to Louisiana Tech, where that was like my first FBS coaching experience as a graduate assistant. Got back to my alma mater, so I played football at Southern University in Baton Rouge, where I was the tight ends and tackles coach. And that's why I started having a lot of success in my room. Had some All-American players. Had a short stint at Mississippi Valley. And then my career kind of shifted when I got to the University of Iowa. So I got in an off-the-field role at the University of Iowa, and being under Coach Kirk Ferentz and Coach Barnett really shifted my career and got me just to have some offensive line masterminds, and working with those guys were amazing. And I learned about just coaching offensive line at that level. Ended up at Alabama State in 2024, where I was the offensive line coach. Had a ton of success there coaching that group, me and Coach Jonathan Carr. And then most recently I was at the University of Arkansas, where we did some great things. I was under the legendary Coach Sam Pittman, working with Arkansas's offensive line. So.
Well, and speaking of the Razorbacks, I mean, they were ranked third in the SEC for rushing and then top 30 nationally. What do you think you learned from that experience and just being under certain people, like those certain coaches, that you want to bring to this institution like MTSU for football?
I think it's about just being brilliant in the basics. I think in a society, in the coaching realm that we're in today, everybody has all these beautiful YouTube drills, and all these, guys are doing 30 and 40 different drills, but you got to create routine with your group. You have to get your guys used to and comfortable with the basic fundamentals, and I think we've kind of withered away from it. So for me and my group, what I learned being at the University of Arkansas is just basic, simple, fundamental drills repped over time so that it's built in their muscle memory.
I know you also had the opportunity to be a part of the Bill Walsh Diversity Coaching Fellowship with the Texans and the Steelers. What do you think you learned about that moment and that experience that you will take with you now that you're coaching these young athletes?
I think God exposes us to things for a reason. I was exposed to an environment that I'd never been in doing the Bill Walsh internships, and I was really just exposed to, I guess, the speed of the game and the professionalism piece as far as the players. So, and it exposed me so that when I go back to my college experience, I'm able to let my young men know, hey, this is what it takes to get to the next level. So just being exposed to those environments gave me the confidence to let those guys know, hey, we're on the right track. We're doing a lot of the similar things that the Texans, that the Steelers are doing, so that we can be successful here, but also I can prepare you with great detail to get to the next level.
What do you think that you tried to mold your coaching after? I know you've already kind of briefly mentioned it, but maybe if you have a role model when it comes to coaching, or if you look up to someone, or just what do you really try to instill in these young student athletes day in and day out, especially like what you're saying, so that they can reach the next level?
Well, the first role model that I had in this profession was Coach Chennis Berry. He's the head football coach at South Carolina State. When I first finished playing football, he was the first guy that I kind of studied under. I bought, back then it was DVDs, so he used to sell offensive line DVDs. And I would go visit him during spring before I actually got into the profession and just studied under him. I talk a lot like him. I have the same passion as him and energy on the field, and that's the first person that taught me the details about offensive line and just how scientific it is as far as leverage and angles and steps. Of course, Coach Kirk Ferentz, going to Iowa, he comes directly under the Joe Moore tree. So the Offensive Line of the Year award is named after Joe Moore, and that's who Coach Ferentz studied under. And I got a lot of my teaching and learning. Again, that kind of reset my career to an entirely different level, and I learned under him and Coach George Barnett. And what I feel like I bring from those experiences is just like the idea of being, of course, brilliant in the basics, having a group that is committed to straining. winning the battle of physicality at the line of scrimmage, having elite detail, and just bringing it every single day. Like, I believe, coming from a small school setting, playing at a small school, that it's important to build relationships and build young men. So even in the world that we're in with the transfer portal and getting new guys every semester, I still believe in having group cohesion, like guys coming together, guys loving each other. I'm getting to know about, hey, this is what my aunt has going on, coach. This is why I've been kind of out of it mentally the last few days. So it's important to me to build a physical group, a group that's together, that we love one another, and producing on the football field. So.
Yeah. Well, I know you're getting settled in to Murfreesboro. You're in the blue and white. You've been here for how long now? How long have you been here?
It's been about 3 weeks now.
3 weeks? Okay, perfect. Well, what do you think drew you to MTSU, or why did you choose the blue?
Well, for me, it was just like Coach Mason's energy. Like, I'm a high-energy guy. I'm
contagious.
A passionate guy. His passion is just contagious. And I think that's what he was looking for in the next offensive line coach that he hired. And I just love his energy and passion about MTSU. We've been doing official visits over the last week or so, and I've been learning a lot about MTSU through him and through his presentations that he has with the young men and their families when they come in. And it's just been awesome to be under him and learn. And then the people in the building, Miss Caitlin, who's our chief, she's went above and beyond to make sure my experience during my interview process, as well as since I've been here, she's been amazing. Miss Kim, like, those are the people in the building that just got me excited to be here, just because those are the people that are the most important people in the building, the people that keep the program together.
Like we keep saying, a decade of experience of coaching from all different aspects of the game. But what do you think has been the biggest challenge for you when it comes to coaching, and how have you pivoted or maybe even learned and grown the most from those challenging moments?
I think the biggest challenge is when you're coming in as a young coach is learning how to hold people accountable. I've mastered that as far as over the past 10, 11 years of coaching, but just learning, like, you have to really hold people accountable. And I have a big heart. I look tough and physical on the outside, but I have a huge heart for people, and I had to learn how to understand the importance of accountability for a group, and that's how your group grows. Another challenge has been just like the portal world. So this happened around like COVID, a little bit after. So I was coaching already for like 5-6 years before COVID. So there's been a shift in just, the business side of coaching, as far as like players getting agents, players getting compensated. There are some schools I was at where players were getting more than the coaches.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great thing for players to be compensated, because I've been there where I didn't know where all my meals were going to come from when we weren't in school. But, I see 30, 40,000 people in the stadium. So I love the fact that players are being compensated. But I guess it's just so new that there's not a lot of blueprint and foundation and rules and, salary caps and things in place. So that's a turbulent world. I think we're navigating through it great here, but that's been a challenge, just figuring out getting to know people a lot faster.
Yeah.
So when you're recruiting a freshman, you get to know them for 6-7 months. You get to know their families. You get to know their extended families. But now in this portal world, you have a couple weeks, to really try to dive in and get to know someone, know about their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, everything about that person. So that's been a difficult thing. The most for me is just trying to get to know a young man, and is he a fit for me, and am I a fit for him?
Well, with that, what do you think is something that you constantly look for in a player and that will make the biggest impact specifically when it comes to your O-line?
I look at the aspect of their family life, just as far as what motivates them throughout their family to play football. I think family is important, so I try to get to know their family. Who's the key decision maker in the home, first and foremost? And does that young man really love the game of football? I think there's a lot of talented players. I've coached in the SEC, the Big Ten, but the most talented player isn't always the best football player. That person that loves the game of football is the person that can be the best offensive lineman for me. So figuring out, do they love the game of football with the questions I ask, and when we have those FaceTime conversations, I try to dive as deep as possible to figure out, do they love football? And are they, like, willingly strikers? Are they physical? Do they strain? You'll hear me say that word a lot, strain. Like, are they strainers? Do they people? And that also reflects in your life. What adversity have you overcome? So those are the things that I try to evaluate as far as trying to get offensive linemen that can play at MTSU.
Last question is, what would you tell the community of Murfreesboro, our alumni, people who love the blue and white? What would you tell them to be most excited about come game time next season?
I think one thing that Coach Mason has talked about is that this has been a coach-led team the first 2 years, and now we're shifting into where there's a lot of players that have been embedded in this program. Well, this will be a player-led team, so that's exciting because that's the difference between a team that can reach average heights and a team that can reach championship heights. From an offensive line standpoint, what you can expect is a physical outfit. So you can expect a group that's going to want to win the line of scrimmage and that's going to want to be the most dominant group. We're going to attack the defensive line. That's our goal. We'll have a growth mindset as a group. We're going to try to figure out ways to grow in small increments every single day. We'll be technique sound. You know, like I said, I come from a background of small Division II football, playing at a small HBCU, and I come from a background of passion and fire, but also a mixture of coaching at Iowa, coaching at Arkansas, learning the fundamentals and techniques at a high level. And then we'll be together, so you can expect a close-knit group. But you're gonna get a great product on the field that wants to establish the run, dominate the line of scrimmage, and protect the quarterback. So that's what you can expect when you see the MTSU offensive line in 2026.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Coach Browne. We're excited to see what happens on the field and to see all the work that you put into these young student athletes, and it's going to be a good year.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.